Welcome to the Taming Lightning podcast. I'm Percy Eccles II, and the idea behind these conversations is to expand our knowledge of plasma and traditional neon, looking beyond its associations with novelty and sign making, and to explore the potential of rare or noble gases by learning from those that use them. We'll be talking with artists, makers, and researchers, each offering their unique knowledge and experience regarding their use in art, science, and history. The intro is boosted by Joachim Karud. Joachim is a Swedish artist who loves to produce chill and happy music, and does so for copyright-free use. Be sure to support his music by giving credit when used, subscribing, and/or by donation. You can find him on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify.
In today's podcast, we'll be talking with Ashlin Williamson of Fourth State Glass. We hear about his journey in plasma, how he got into using neon gases, latest projects, and his involvement in the Plasma Art Alliance, an emerging organization of artists using plasma in their light sculptures. Ash and I met in 2014 when we took a plasma workshop with Pat Collentine at Pilchuck Glass School. Since then, we've kept in contact, both sharing and exchanging ideas and latest projects.
All right, Ash, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Ashlyn Williamson. I am a glassblower and a plasma artist. I go by Fourth State Glass on Instagram. I've been blowing glass since 2012, and I've been making plasma light art objects since 2014.
All right, and what's your history with neon and plasma?
So I first interned for a pipe shop right out of high school in 2012, making water pipes on a glass lathe. And then after 3 months of interning for them, I went up to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and left Austin, Texas. And when I went up to Chicago, I actually didn't have access to any glass at all. But I did hear about a neon shop that was in one of the basements of the school buildings. And they were melting glass at a torch. And I was like, well, this is basically flame working. So I immediately signed up for the neon class the next semester. And that is how I first started bending neon. That was about in 2013, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then through that class, there was an assignment to show your favorite neon artist or light artist. And someone actually, their presentation was about Eric Franklin, who is an amazing borosilicate lamp worker and is an amazing plasma artist. And he does full-size hollow glass skeletons filled with plasma. And I was completely blown away because he was really the first person I saw merging flame working of borosilicate glass with neon bending to create this new kind of merging of these two art forms called plasma glass. And right when I saw that, I was like, okay, I got to start doing research on how to do this. And my very first time I ever did that merging was in 2014 at a craft school called Penland Glass School in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And the two teachers for that was Sally Prash and Jacob Fishman, who are amazing artists. And they were really the first ones who kind of showed me the ropes on how to do the plasma glass experience. And after that, I've just kind of been following it ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and I met at Pilchuck in 2015 through Pat Collentine.
And that was another amazing plasma class. And so really through like 2014 to 2015, I really did a lot of time at different craft schools, trying to pick up as many skills as I can. 2016, I moved back down to Austin, Texas, and have been, I worked for another water pipe facility called Texas Tubes, and I was on a glass lathe for them for a year. And then for the past, really since, about a year ago, I became an independent artist, and I've been really trying to chase the plasma art dream as well as making pipes to kind of pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been good.
Yeah, for me, meeting at Pilchuck was really the turning point in my interest towards plasma and neon. I had no concept of what that was until that point. And, it's kind of amazing how from then, we met together, we finally met up, but, consequently it was before my show was actually to be set up. But it was a good time. Yeah. And I really tell people about what you do and the amazing stuff you've been working on. I feel you've been more of an independent artist before even just recently, because you took the time to really dig into your craft. You saw another pathway besides academia, and it shows that there are more ways to approach your profession than schooling. But would you say schooling did help you, in a sense, figure that out in some part?
Of course. Yeah, I think, even though I only spent 2 years at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, it gave me the facilities to explore. SAIC has a very multidisciplinary program, so you can be taking painting classes with metal classes with neon bending classes. So they really kind of give you an open field of studio options for classes. You can really pretty much take any studio class you want and then still graduate, which was an amazing experience. But I think as a whole, I really am glad I changed my path and kind of went more to the skill-based craft school route, because that really gave me it's very intimate class sizes, and we all live with each other for basically, 2 weeks to a month, and really just focus in on this one aspect of building these skills to either blow the glass or to fill it, or, other awesome skills that I picked up from these craft schools. But it's definitely been an interesting journey, that's for sure. I really love making stuff with fire and electricity, and it really makes me feel alive. So I really have a good time with it. And then also that one time when you came by the Sedgwick studio in Chicago and we finished up all those pieces, that was a blast. I really had a good time. And I really missed that studio so much in Chicago. That was kind of that was like my dojo for many years. And I'm really glad you got to see it before I left.
Yeah, there's some significant importance when you have a studio space, and you had mentioned prior that it's not just the space itself, it's who is in that space, and you were surrounded by many different artists and workers and makers that you can draw inspiration from and learn from.
Yeah, and man, there was a lot of knowledge in that shop, a lot of neon knowledge, but also my studio in Chicago. From 2013 to the end of 2015, so those 2 years, I was at a studio called Sedgwick Studio, which was a very interesting place. It used to power the whole Brown line back in the day and house dynamo transformers, which were not really the best because they had a tendency of exploding. So this warehouse studio was actually butted up against the Sedgwick Brown line stop in Chicago, and they would do train maintenance. So there was a huge bridge crane that would actually be able to lift train cars and move them from one side of the studio to the other. And then the dynamo transformers were housed in the basement. But because those dynamo transformers were kind of unstable, all the walls in this place are 3 to 4 feet thick, and all the doors were steel-plated doors. And then in the 70s, it got transferred into a metalworking studio with 4 or 5 different artists all making public metal sculptures for Chicago. And they had this one little room off to the side, which was the neon room, that they would make accents for their big public sculpture pieces and for restaurant designs and things like that as well. So I kind of hopped in on this little, I interned for them for a summer, and then I started renting out the little neon room, and I revamped it up and kind of made it into a glass blowing and neon room, and it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed my time there, and my time spending with artists that I've been building and making for decades, and have been in there since the 70s. It was really, really an honor to be a part of that studio. It was a lot of fun. There's quite a lot of history in that place. I really, really am glad you got to come by, and we got to play in there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice little space. Turning back to your learning and developing your understanding of plasma and neon, and I would say, you could probably say that most certainly this was not an effort done alone. You started through a mentorship and harbored many new and current mentorships in the process. And you said that Eric Franklin is one of your influences, especially in the beginning. Have you contacted him, and who else have you been in contact that's been helping you in your plasma journey?
Yeah, so I contacted him, and we shared a couple emails, and he gave me some advice. He was like, you should try and get a hold of your own manifold and really start doing this. And that was probably some really good advice, because that's it's one thing to make the glass, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to run a vacuum manifold and know pressures and gases and electronics and everything like that. I could go out and list everyone that has really influenced me, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget someone. Just because I've had so many amazing teachers on the glass side, on the plasma side, on the electrical side. Like, there's just so many, with this medium, there's just so many facets to it that really, if you do it by yourself, you're limited. But if you work as a team and work with, a bunch of different people, like I've been, talking to different people, building different electrical supplies and new electrical supplies, and taking a bunch of classes. The main classes that I've taken are from Jacob Fishman and Sally Crash, Patrick Collentine at Pilchuck, Wayne Stratman at Pilchuck. And then I also watched Eric Franklin and a few others demo at the International Flameworking Conference in Salem, New Jersey, which is the only school that has you can get an associate's in scientific glass blowing. So that's kind of their big shindig over there at that school. And then I also watched a bunch of really amazing glass artists and neon artists. I can't remember who everyone was there, but Bruce Suba was in there. In San Jose in 2015, they had a really, really awesome glass art demo, which was a lot of fun. But I've just been trying to, be a part of the community, because this glass community is amazing. But even a smaller niche of this glass community is our plasma and neon side of everything. And it's been a lot of fun, because very recently we've all been getting more organized. But really, I think a big thing that happened with this plasma art movement was the Mona had 2 shows recently, and it was all devoted to glass art, or plasma glass art. And it was really, really amazing. It was February 2015, and it was the Plasma Art Alliance.
And that's the new name it's going under.
That's the new name it's called. So that was this is the society that was made off of that big show at Mona in February. So we had the opening night. Wayne Stratman was having his show alongside the which was a bunch of different plasma artists. And the next day we had a symposium, and it really was the biggest gathering of plasma artists to date. And we founded the Plasma Art Alliance, which is our new society that's gonna bring all these different amazing artists, scientists, electricians, glass blowers, plasma artists, neon vendors all together into one place, so we can start a forum and really start trying to push this movement of plasma glass art, and get more organized and get exhibitions going, and to really get it out into the public eye. Because something I keep on hearing about my work and other plasma artists' work is, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. So I think, if we can get it out there more, there's going to be a bigger market for us to have collectors in, because it really is an amazing medium, and these objects are really one of a kind. And unless you know someone who does it, you're not going to be able to buy anything like this. Unless you want to go to Spencer's Gifts and buy like a $40 little plasma globe from China.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the Plasma Alliance, do you hold any positions in there? I mean, maybe it's too early to speak, but could you say like who's running it or who's kind of leading it? Do we have a president yet, or is it kind of still in formation?
It's definitely information. We're still locking it down, but we have an executive committee, and then we also have a bunch of other smaller committees. Like I'm the committee head for the social media marketing and promotions, and then I'm also in the membership committee. And then there's a committee about building electronic supplies and winding your own coils. And then we have an exhibition committee that Kim from the Museum of Neon Art is the head of. And so there's the executive committee, which is Kim, Wayne Stratman, Ed Kirshner, Patrick Collentine, and possibly Bruce Suba and Mundy. I think that's the executive committee. And then there's going to be a couple other committees off of that as well. But we're getting organized. It's going to kind of be like the Glass Art Society, where you pay like a monthly or yearly thing, and then you get all these benefits of forums and FAQs and a bunch of information about making plasma art, and then also getting collectors in contact with different artists, and then getting artists in contact with different curators and different galleries. So there's going to be a bunch of different stuff, and that's actually what I've been doing all today. I've just been organizing stuff and writing the membership letterhead to send out to everyone to really get this Plasma Art Alliance rocking and rolling. So it's a lot of fun. I'm really excited.
Just a PAA, or is it PA?
Yep.
The
Art Alliance. So, it's good. It's really exciting. It's good to see us all coming together to really push this medium forward, because it's, I've dabbled in a lot of different mediums, but this one is the most technical and time consuming, like it really is a trip in itself, because blowing the glass is one aspect, filling the glass is a whole nother aspect, and then powering the filled glass is a completely other different aspect. You know what I mean?
It requires so many different skill sets.
Yeah. To do this at a high standard of excellence, you need multiple people. It really, you can do it, you can try and do it all, but if you split it up, with a couple different people, I think the collaborative aspect of that is going to make a much higher quality piece of art. So it's something I'm kind of excited and looking forward. And then I have a couple projects in the work with a couple different people, is making a few new things. One of my friends, Nicholas Dean, who I've been collaborating with, and I'm actually about to chop down some footage from our first meeting. He's an amazing electrical engineer and has been making Tesla coils for a while now. But me and him started talking on Facebook for about 2 years ago. And he's also in Texas. And so I went up, and he's about 2 hours away. Me and a crew of filmmakers went up there and documented our meeting and kind of our first collaboration. We shocked a bunch of glass with about 500,000 volts of electricity, and I gave him a bunch of test pump pieces with different gases at different pressures and different fills, so he can kind of start getting an idea of kind of my glass plasma filling side. And then he gave me this power supply, which there's only one other like it in the world. And I stand on top of it without any shoes on, and it sends 50,000 volts through me at about 500,000 hertz, which is super high frequency. So I'm actually broadcasting electricity through myself, and me coming in contact with any of the glass filled pieces, or even my aura, like me waving my hands over the glass, will send enough electricity wirelessly through the air to light all of these pieces.
Wow.
So we have a couple projects off of that idea. And then we have a couple more projects with some installation-based Tesla coil and plasma pieces. But what's really exciting is James Akers, who is another young gun neon plasma artist, is going to be moving down to Texas as well. So in August. And so all three of us are going to hopefully get together after August sometime in the fall and start kind of brainstorming and collaborating and really trying to get some stuff together, because our backgrounds really all pull from different areas. He's more of the programming, Arduino, electronic kind of digital side, as well as an amazing neon bender and glass worker. And then Nick is kind of the electrical wizard of building coils and power supplies and Tesla coils and things like that. And then I kind of specialize in scientific lamp working and using a glass lathe and borosilicate glass, along with filling different glass vessels with different rarefied noble gases. So all of us together, I feel like we could have some jolly good time.
Yeah, I just met James the other day.
Stuff. What was that?
I said I just met James the other day. He just happened to walk right in as I'm over here at University of Texas in Arlington visiting.
Yeah.
Right. So
isn't that?
Yeah.
He actually contacted me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I met Percy," and I was like, "No way! That's awesome."
So that was kind of a treat. I guess he was filling a piece for his girlfriend. I believe she's making some kind of circle, bent tube lighting piece. So they were just kind of filling that. Unfortunately, only got one of those filled because the other one had a nice little leak in there.
Wow. That's always that's always a pain. I love me a good leak. Just kidding. I hate me a good leak. But yeah. They're a power couple. It's awesome. Super awesome.
Yeah, fortunately, the hole was just near the electrode, so it's just a matter of reheating and getting that thing back together.
Yeah, get it nice and soupy, a little press and pull, a little puff puff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really excited to have Allie and James here in Texas, in the Texas area. So I think, it's cool that everyone's through Facebook and everything like that is really getting connected. Like, we're really coming together as a community, and I'm really excited to see the next 5 to 10 years of this plasma art movement really coming together, and we really push it into the public eye and really get it out there.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think I would have started this project without the things coming into place. So it's very fortunate that I could come in. I came in and they were still in town, so I got to meet them and got to talk with Don a little bit. And I think he'll be the next person I'll be interviewing here shortly. We'll see how that goes.
That'll be a good interview.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I wanted to harp on is Aaron and the Plasma Appreciation Facebook group. That has been a huge driving factor of kind of getting us all together. And Aaron has done an amazing job of adminning that group. So there's just so much information knowledge getting dropped in that group. It's crazy. So, if any new kind of neon benders or glass blowers who kind of want to get into that group, it's a private secret group. But if you contact me or Percy or anyone like that, we can get you in that group. And it is a wealth of knowledge. It's really, really wild. And I've learned a lot from it. And it's just awesome to see different plasma art pieces getting posted up there. But if you get joined into that group, you'll kind of start seeing who the main players in the plasma art community are. And it's really exciting and really fun. And Aaron, Chris, and then Pierre are a few other neon plasma artists that are going to be running the promotions and marketing and social media for the Plasma Art Alliance. And we're going to open up a public Facebook page and also a public Instagram. And we're going to be posting up all the plasma art content from all these different artists that are members of the Plasma Art Alliance. So that'll be really exciting. And once we get those pages up and running, man, there's going to be so much amazing plasma art getting posted up from all the different people. So I'm really, really excited about that. And that's kind of a near future project that's getting worked out as well. It's great. So many collaborations and teamwork, and, you know, teamwork is making the dream work. So I'm really, really excited. So
certainly
it'll be good. But yeah, other than that, like, I really think it's wild that we can bend matter, like real world. There's nothing digital to this. This is real world physics that we're able to make look like these plasma globes. We're able to excite these gases with electricity. And it's just wild as a whole. It really, each time I make something, I'm like, holy guacamole, how does this actually work? You know what I mean? Like, I know how it works on a physics level. You know, we're exciting these electrons and making them jump in orbital, and then they fall back down and release protons. I get that, but like, just that it looks like this, and, you know, that we can capture an aurora borealis in a bottle. And it's really a beautiful and life-changing medium for me. I think I've always really struggled with depression in my past, and making light objects that are just so beautiful and so full of like the most wholesome light ever has really like helped me on like an emotional, spiritual, and also artistic level. And it's really a beautiful thing. Every single time I make a plasma object, I'm just like, wow, this is really fun. And then I play with it for a couple hours and just look at it. You know what I mean? Like, these things are just so much fun to look at. It really is mixing science and art. And that's where I kind of want to take my practice. I think, you know, creative problem solving also with the kind of scientific, more mathematical mind, and mixing these two is really, really fun, and a lot of fun stuff is going to come from it. But yeah, it's good stuff.
So as you get into this medium here, plasma versus, you know, a neon light setup, you prefer plasma. And what is it about the plasma that really grasps you?
So there's a few different things. So with traditional neon bending, it's used with soft glass, and then a bunch of different colored tubes that are filled with neon gas or argon gas. And then argon usually has mercury with it too. So it's really two main gases with a solid tube of glass that's all bent up, which is awesome. And I love traditional neon bending. But I flame work borosilicate or Pyrex glass into 3-dimensional forms, and then pump them with gas, 5 different gases. Actually, you can use more gases than 5, but I use xenon, argon, krypton, neon, and helium as my main gases that I pump with. And then filling these different gases at different pressures and different mixtures and different additives and different phosphors will give you so many wide ranges of effects. Like, it's nuts. Like, I've just seen some fills with different gas mixtures of, you know, these tendrils of electricity are making multicolored stars. You know what I mean? Like, some really, really wild and interesting stuff. And so I feel like there's just a lot more to explore on the plasma side with just the actual materials of it. Whereas neon industry has really kind of formalized all the different variables for a neon sign. And it's pretty straightforward. But also you can use it for such beautiful architectural lighting. And then just plasma tubes in general, if it's a neon tube or a plasma bulb, both just produce the most beautiful light. Way more pure than LEDs, in my opinion. Like, LED cannot touch the fluorescent or plasma tubes, in my opinion. Just the quality of light is just so pure. But yeah, it's really exciting. Also, I feel like on the electrical side, the neon transformers are really locked in, and there's like a very vetted neon transformer, you know what I mean? Whereas the the power supplies for different plasma bulbs, there are companies making them, but also as a whole, there's a whole committee that's prioritizing to make new plasma supplies. And how Nick made me that crazy thing that I stand on and it lights up just through my contact and my aura. I light these different plasma glass pieces, and then also using Tesla coils to light these plasma bulbs as well. So I feel like there's just a little bit, for my own practice, there's a little bit more exploration with materiality and different ways of powering and mixing these different gases to get a whole wide range of effects. And a lot of them that haven't, I think, you can have an idea and it's so small, such a small group, and such few people have really done it that, there's not a lot of footsteps in front of you. So you have a lot of room to explore. And it's really exciting. I really like it when, you land on the moon and there's no footsteps in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're making your plasma, what objects do you like to make the most, or what have you found yourself making now?
So a lot of my early stuff was really inspired by skeletal forms, because that was the first kind of thing Eric Franklin do. And I've done a couple of pieces in honor to his work and inspired directly by his work. And then also Wade Martin makes beautiful, beautiful full-size artery and veins and circulatory system pieces as well. And I've also messed around with kind of monster skeletal forms as well, along with doing ray guns, and also just, tubes with different gases filled in them. Not really too focused on the glass making side of it, but more focused on getting different fill effects. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of just exploring now. I kind of want to go a lot bigger, because I saw Wayne Stratman do a 10-foot tree out of 50 by 5 glass borosilicate glass that's 50 millimeters wide by 5 millimeters thick glass, and made a 10-foot tall tree. And so really kind of exploring how large I could possibly take these plasma sculptures, because it's been proven that you can take it 10 feet. So I want to see if I can actually make some architectural glass and weld it all together on that scale. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I would like to take it. And then work with Nick on building a power supply to power a sculpture that big. So it's exciting. It'll be good. It's always an adventure,
All right. And last question here before we start closing up. How do you, as one of the young guards, we're not the same as the artists that came before us, the ones that are kind of mentoring us through this process. We're very much they're flame and plasma babies at this point.
Yeah.
Where do you see the application of plasma in art from our generation forward?
I would love to see it in more galleries. I would also love to see it in newer art immersive installations, kind of like Meow Wolf out in Santa Fe, where it's this kind of psychedelic art, fully experiential art space.
Is that Neon Todd's setup? Or I think that was his project, if I'm mistaken.
I think he might have had a hand in it for sure, but it was I think it was over 50 or 60 plus artists. I can't remember, but there was many, many artists that filled that huge warehouse space with all of these fully immersive art installations. Something else I would really like to do is start working with different musicians and making light displays for them, because I feel like, musical Tesla coils with plasma glass all around this. And then also using a musician and, merging those three kind of things of wirelessly illuminating plasma glass with musical Tesla coils. So let me explain a little bit of what a musical Tesla coil is. So musical Tesla coil is a Tesla coil that shoots out a lightning arc, but that lightning arc disrupts air molecules, which creates sound. So it's this basically very, very, very zappy electric sounding speaker that lights up plasma glass wirelessly. So me and Nick have been talking about, and we've already experimented a little bit with, having musical Tesla coils light up different plasma glass vessels. But I think, there's a lot of promise in that, especially with a lot of newer art music festivals that are going down right now. So kind of hopping on that bandwagon. There was this one music festival that I went to in Houston, Texas. I'm blanking on the name, but we'll put it in the description. But it was a huge warehouse space that had music stages, but also these massive light art installations that were very experiential. So really creating experiential music house in Houston that had 20 different light artists install these massive square feet of light art installations along with stages and musicians and everything like that. So I would really like to start getting into that type of market as well as higher end galleries, but I think there's a lot of promise. I think a lot of the art market is changing so fast right now that I'm kind of trying to figure out new trends to kind of hop on board with. But I really love music, but I've never been a musician, but I love working with musicians. So I really would like to work with musical Tesla coils, plasma glass, and musicians as well. And then hopefully get that to the public as soon as possible. But it's definitely there's so many possibilities. It's really a wild medium. And it's a wild point in time for this medium as well, because it's really, the snowball is rolling down the hill and it's picking up a lot of momentum and it's getting really, really big, really quick. So there's a lot of promising things for plasma art in general. I'm really excited.
All right, so we're about to close up here.
Awesome.
Where can we find you? Be it websites, Facebook, or Instagram? Just kind of give us a couple of those things, and I'll actually put those down in the blogs and notes afterwards.
Perfect. Yeah. My Facebook account is Ashlyn Williamson. That's probably the fastest way to get me. Hit me up on Facebook chat if you ever have any questions. I would love to talk to you about plasma glass art. And then also my Instagram page, which is Fourth State Glass. And that really is where my whole body of work is. And it's a mixture of different non-functional glass art as well as pipes, as water pipes, teapots, functional drinkware, and then also my plasma art as well. So it's kind of a mixture of everything that I make out of glass on that. But if you want to go check out my work, at Fourth State Glass, FourthStateglass, Fourth State Glass. Bada bing, bada boom.
All right. Thank you for talking with me today, Mr. Ash.
Yeah, thank you, Percy. I'm really excited for all of these podcasts. I'm excited to hear from more plasma artists as well and neon benders. We got some really, really amazing people in this community, so I'm really excited to stay tuned in. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'll definitely be bringing you back in for when we get to discussions and such, where we can have more than one voice at the same time, kind of talking through both the new guard and the old guard on the subject of plasma and neon. So that'll be really exciting to happen in the future.
Awesome. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you so much again. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope everyone has an awesome day.
The outro is Re-Entry by Lapse. Thank you for listening to the Taming Lightning podcast. We have many more guests to come, with future guests returning to expand on questions, practices, in a variety of subjects. I'd like to thank Pittsburgh Glass Center for supporting me, as well as encouraging me to pursue this project, and the Plasma Art Alliance, who many of our guests are connected through. Keep an eye out for next summer's classes at Pittsburgh Glass Center as we work to provide a space for learning neon and plasma. I'd like to thank Ash for being a big part of my first steps in my plasma journey, as it was his help that allowed me to apply plasma light to my graduating exhibition at Illinois State University. If you'd like to support this, simply go to my website percyeccles.com and look for the tab that says Taming Lightning, or by typing in taminglightning.net and click subscribe. Later there will probably be other options for support, such as Patreon, which is an option I'm looking into right now. But more on that later. But for now, like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.